Scientists think of the fourth dimension as like looking into a mirror. You're looking at your exact opposite. I don't know if you look in a mirror. When you raise your right hand in a mirror, actually the guy in the mirror, that's his left hand. Okay? So it's a mirror image of this world here. And this is interesting because Job described this when he was referring to the sky. In Job 37:18, he said, "Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass." You remember Alice. The guy who was writing about Alice, Lewis Carroll, was a British mathematician theorizing on the fourth dimension. And he said it's like going through the mirror to getting into the opposite world. Okay? Because when you look into a mirror, when you look at it, it looks like it has depth. When you look behind the mirror, there's no depth there. That's what they're describing here. So Job says that the entire sky is like a mirror image of what? Of what's going on here on this earth. Now, I'm going to give you the biblical end of it, and then we're going to show you the reverse of it. Matthew chapter 6, verse 9. "After this manner, therefore pray ye." This is our brother, our friend Jesus Christ teaching us how to pray. "Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven." That is the hope of every born-again, Bible-believing Christian, is that one of these days, God's will, which is performed in heaven, will be performed in planet earth. Not a bad prayer to pray. You want God's will in your marriage, in your life, in your family, in your church, in every realm of life. That's a wonderful prayer to pray. Okay? So here we have God's kingdom being inside the hearts of men. And he visualizes that to us. This is so neat. You got to see this, okay? This is why God described Israel in the following manner. Genesis chapter 22. "That in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed." Notice this. "As the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies." I want you to think about that. Genesis 26, "And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all nations of the earth be blessed." You know what God was saying here? God was saying, look, I have a plan here. I have a plan. And it's through the faith of Abraham, through Jesus Christ, that I'm going to take my people, and I'm going to make them like the stars of heaven. They're the angels. They're the gods. Okay? God said, "I will make man, who I made to be lower than the angels. I will exalt him." Jesus said in the resurrection, we shall be as the angels of heaven. Not the fallen ones, but we shall be as the angels of heaven. So thy kingdom come, thy will be done in the earth as it is in heaven. God taking lowly man of a low estate through the cross of Jesus Christ and raising him up to be immortals. That's God's plan. And I caught this years ago. I saw this and I went, God, I love you. Because remember, God created the procession of the stars in the heaven, divided up in sort of equal time periods of 12. When you look at the wilderness camp of Israel, this is how God told them to camp themselves. He said, put the tabernacle in the middle. And then I want you to surround the tabernacle with how many tribes? 3 on the north, 3 on the east, 3 on the south, and 3 on the west. Just like the signs, the seasons, the days, and the years. With everything that God does, there is an exact opposite in the devil's kingdom. That's what astrology is all about. So if you want to understand astrology, don't study astrology. Study the Bible, and you'll get it. You will understand. And God wants to make Israel. He says in Exodus chapter 37, the dry bones in the valley that once they're prophesied over twice, that's the first and second coming of Christ, and the Spirit comes in, the 4 winds of the gospel are breathed into them, then they are raised up the mighty army of Israel. We have a picture, again, of that, equating it with the stars in heaven and their procession. Remember Sisera? Remember the guy who, had the spike driven through his head and he was fastened to the ground? That in itself is a picture of the cross being fastened as a nail in a sure place upon where? The place of the skull. This is so beautiful, people. But remember Deborah, when they finally got that victory, Deborah sang a song in the book of Judges. And here's what she sang. They fought from heaven. The stars in their courses fought against Sisera. Now, that is a reference, I believe, to Revelation chapter 12 and the war that goes on in heaven, but also, I believe, God's people as well as the stars of heaven. We're fighting this battle right now. And by the way, because Christ died on the cross, we win. We win this battle. Now, I want to go back to this idea of the stars in their possession. Here is the circle of the zodiac. I want you to notice that they're sort of encompassing there, that they are part of the constellations there. I mentioned earlier the verse in the King James Bible, "Thy will be done in the earth as it is in heaven." I mentioned also earlier about this concept of as above, so below. These evil angels want to rule over planet Earth and make it part of their kingdom. Okay? And I talk often about this false, stupid, idiotic